Every single day, Americans pump about 374 million gallons of gasoline into their cars. Not in a week, not in a month, every single day. That number is so large, it almost stops meaning anything. So let's make it concrete. That's about 25 million full-tank fill-ups every day, before breakfast. And here's the part almost nobody thinks about. Almost nobody in that line actually understands what they're paying for. Not really. They see the number, they feel the pain, they blame someone, and then they drive away. But the price on that pump isn't random. It's the endpoint of a system, one of the most complex, politically charged, and quietly misunderstood systems in the world. And once you see how that system actually works, that number starts to look very different. By the end of this, you'll know what's in it. You'll know what moves it. And more importantly, you'll know why most of the explanations you hear about gas price miss the point. Let's start at the beginning. If you picture where American oil comes from, you probably picture the ocean, offshore platforms, the Gulf of Mexico. Something dramatic. That image isn't wrong, but it tells maybe 13% of the story, because the real engine of American oil production isn't offshore at all. It's a stretch of land in West Texas and southeastern New Mexico called the Permian Basin. In 2025, that one region produced about 6.6 million barrels per day, nearly half of all U.S. production. Half from one place. Now, don't worry about memorizing all the numbers. Just remember this. A huge portion of U.S. oil comes from a single region. The United States as a whole produced a record 13.6 million barrels per day. The Permian alone accounted for almost half. Other regions contribute, the Eagle Ford, the Bakken, offshore in the Gulf, but they're smaller pieces of the picture. And yet, the United States is the largest oil producer in the world. We produce more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than anyone. And still, you pay global prices at the pump. That contradiction is the entire story. Here's the single most important sentence in this entire video. Oil is priced globally, not locally. It doesn't matter that a barrel came out of West Texas this morning and gets refined in Houston this afternoon. That barrel is priced based on what's happening across the world. Production decisions in Saudi Arabia, economic shifts in China, geopolitical tension, financial markets reacting in real time. The benchmark price you hear about, West Texas Intermediate, is tied to global supply and demand, and it moves constantly. And because crude oil makes up roughly half of what you pay at the pump, when that global price moves, your gas price follows. Fast. This is why U.S. presidents don't really control gas prices. They can influence things at the margins. But control? You can't control a global market from one country. The people who can move supply at scale are not sitting in Washington. They're sitting in rooms like this. OPEC Plus is a group of oil-producing countries, led by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Together, they control a large portion of global supply. They meet. They decide how much oil to produce. And the market reacts. When they cut production, prices go up. When they increase production, prices ease. When OPEC Plus cut supply in 2023, prices started rising within days and showed up at the pump within weeks. That single decision added roughly 20 to 30 cents per gallon for U.S. drivers. A decision made thousands of miles away moves the number you see at your local gas station. Not because your station changed anything, but because the system shifted underneath it. Now, let's follow the actual money. According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, for every dollar you spend on gas, about half goes to crude oil. Around 15 to 25% goes to refining. Roughly 15 to 20% goes to taxes. And the rest covers distribution and the gas station. Here's what matters. The biggest piece, crude oil, moves globally. And it moves fast. Refining is tighter, slower to adjust. The United States has not built a major new refinery in decades, So when something disrupts refining, maintenance, hurricanes, outages, prices rise quickly, and they do not fall as quickly. Taxes, fixed, distribution, mostly stable, which leads to something people notice, but do not always understand. Prices go up fast, but they come down slowly. There is a name for that: rocket and feather pricing. Prices rocket up, they feather back down. Here's where the story gets more interesting. The United States is both the largest oil producer in the world and a major importer of oil at the same time. That sounds contradictory. It's not. U.S. refineries were largely built to process heavier crude oil, the kind that comes from Canada, Mexico, and parts of the Middle East. But much of the oil produced in the Permian is lighter crude. So what happens? We export light crude to global markets, and we import heavy crude for our refineries. Both things happen at the same time because the system was built that way. This is why simple ideas like just drill more don't work the way people expect. More drilling adds supply to the global system. It helps, but indirectly. The connection between U.S. production and your gas price is real, but it's slower, more complex, and far less direct than most people assume. So what actually controls your gas price? The honest answer is a lot of things. At the same time, global crude markets, production decisions by OPEC+, refinery constraints, state taxes, seasonal fuel requirements, and financial markets reacting in real time. You're not paying for one decision. You're paying for a system shaped by thousands of decisions, made across countries, companies, and years, all landing on that number you see when you pull into a gas station. You're not just paying for oil. You're paying for everything it takes to move it. And once you see that, the number on the pump stops feeling random. Next time, we're going deeper. To the wellhead, where oil actually begins its journey, and what it really takes to get a barrel out of the ground today. This is Crude Reality. And now, you're starting to see it.